Hello again and welcome. Quickly to the papers for this morning. We'll start off with the Daily Graphic newspaper for the morning, and it says here that NMC restrained from implementing content standards regulation LI 2224. Also, afford corruption more than any other leader. President Mahama saying that. Also, Supreme Court to rule on voters register May 5. Those are the stories captured by the Daily Graphic. Sanitation campaign launched is on its back page. The Ghanaian Times newspaper says Supreme Court strikes Woyeme. Supreme Court strikes Woyeme, orders banks to pay cash to states. And Carnival at Whole Market, the president accounting to the people tour. Police intercept large quantity of AK-47 ammunitions. And ECG denies reports of faulty meters. And also Daily Guide, my final paper for the morning, says, I can't put cash in pockets, says President Mahama. And yes, I'm bleaching, Bukum Banku declares. Okay, and Malam Issa stole $46,000 Black Stars cash, Kojo Bonsu is alleging. All right, so that'll do for the papers. Let me introduce my guest for the morning. I'll start off with the former minister, also Director of Elections for the NDC and Vice Chair for the NDC, Mr. Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo. Good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
And also we have Nana Akumia, Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party. Nana, good morning as well and welcome to the show. I know you have a funeral today, so I would want you to start off. I think there's even a story in the Daily Guide about my Jacob Echebilamte moment. Maybe you can share with us what your Jacob Echebilamte moment is and what today in particular would happen.
Yes, thank you. And let me wish your viewers a good morning. And also my big brother, we call him Sambi Foto. These days, I don't know what he calls himself. Yes, yesterday we had the burial service for Jake, very well attended at the Rich Church where he worshipped. And today, this morning, we're having the funeral gathering at the forecourt of the State House. Jake was a man who traversed the political divide. And I'm sure today you would see people from all walks of life, including all sides of the political divide, coming to the State House to pay the last respects to somebody who has established his mark. In Ghanaian business, he was a giant in advertising. You will not be able to read about marketing and advertising in Ghana without reading about Jake and his contribution to advertising and marketing. Many of the great campaigns for some of these great products that we have, all of them came through Jake. And then he was also a political colossus. He served as a Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NPP. He served as a National Chairman of the NPP. He served as a National Campaign Manager of the NPP. He served as a Chief of Staff to President Kufuor. He served as a Minister for Tourism, and then he served as a Minister for Information. So he's also had a lifetime of achievements in politics as well as in business, a colossus. So a lot of business people, a lot of politicians, ordinary people would come and pay their last respects to Jake. And so if you release me early, I would go straight to the funeral grounds to pay my last respects.
All right. I'm sure you will be at the funeral.
I'll definitely be there.
Anything in particular you remember him by?
Well, I think if I want to remember Jake, then perhaps in the political field, because that is where our path crossed. As a national organizer of the NDC, he was also the national chairman of the NPP. And during those times, in various by-elections, we had encounters when tension is very high. We are able to meet our political leaders to see how best to calm our people, to ensure that we create a very congenial atmosphere for electioneering campaign. So I believe that he's contributed immensely towards our democratic governance by the role that he played variously in the political field. And I think that we've lost a gem of a politician, and we associate ourselves with our friends from the NPP to express our condolences to the family and all those who have something to do with him. I believe that he's a man of many parts, very experienced in his choosing field, that's advertising, and also very experienced politician. I believe that he led President Kufuor's campaign in the year 2000, which led to the NPP clinching their first victory under the 1992 Constitution. So when it comes to writing the history of this country and his contribution to politics, I think that his name will be written in gold as far as his role in the NPP is concerned. So we wish that the good Lord will find a resting place for him.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, both gentlemen. And we'll move straight to our discussion. And the first one says here that I fought corruption more than any other leader. That's President Mahama saying. And if you go into the story, it says that he says that, you know, there's a lot of discussion, a lot of talk about corruption, and where he hears of anything, he goes there to investigate, expose and sanction those involved. Nanakumi, I want to start with you. I mean, President Mahama continues to talk about how he's exposing corruption to make it unattractive for anyone who thinks that, whether being in government or whether government appointee or in the public sector, he'll make it your life really uncomfortable for you.
Well, thank you again, Bridget. I think corruption is one of the areas that the president has failed miserably. And the more he goes on counting corruption, the fight against corruption as his achievement, the more funny it sounds. Because
how so?
If you had time, I'll read to you the take on non-political but major figures, opinion leaders in this country about corruption, what their take on corruption is. These are not the NPP, these are not the NDC, these are not CPP. These are just people of repute. I can read to you what J.J. Rawlings, the founder of the NDC, has said about corruption in Ghana today. I mean, he says that today corruption is a pandemic. Every time he gets the opportunity, he makes those comments. He says that 60% of thieves in the government have also gone into to find positions in the party to protect themselves. It's J.J. Rawlings. He founded the NDC. This is his take on corruption today. What the Chief Justice has said about corruption. Last year, the Chief Justice remarked that corruption today has gone to the tipping point in Ghana. What Brigadier Nunu Mensah has said about corruption today. What people in the NDC themselves, what they have said about corruption. So the president may be, in his view, doing something. He may think he is fighting corruption, but to what end? What is the effect? But look, no. A Supreme Court justice in open court said that you can understand some of these things unless you can see that it's just a plan. It's a create, in fact, the words he used were create, loot, and share. A Supreme Court justice. So, you look at the cases, you can see that it is just blatant. It is in your face. There is no effort to hide. Look at Wayome. Look at the events that happened for Mr. Wayome to be paid. It doesn't make sense unless you look at it as a grand plan, a create, loot, and share, as the judge put it. You have a situation where somebody comes and says, the government owes me, and immediately ministers of state agree to pay. Immediately. And then they say the president at that time heard about it and said, stop, don't pay, go to court. So they go to court. And then the court says that, okay, but you've already made some judgment settlements with Wayome, so pay the one that is due. And then the rest don't pay until we are finished with your own case that you've brought. Yet still, people were able to go around the president, go around the court, and pay all the monies to Wayome. Does it make sense? You look at the Waterville. It's the same thing. You can see the collusion right from day one. And nobody is being punished. Everybody is walking about freely. You look at JIDA, where you are given a contract to train 20,000 people in dressmaking. All the money is paid to you up front. You end up training 2,000. And then the next time, they give you another contract to train people in broadcasting. you budget for 10,000. They pay you all the money. You train 1,000. And then they give you another contract to train people in hairdressing. and you can see the pattern going on. You take SADA, for example. You see, and these are egregious. Nothing is being done. The impunity is what is shocking.
Okay, but Nana, just a quick one on it about the fact that people are even talking about it.
Yeah.
They are expressing and exposing it. That in itself is deterrent, right?
What the talk
Exposing
about it.
you expose it, and then the other thing is that, I mean, you heard the president, I think, meets the press where he talks about you can't just go and lift people. You have to go through the processes. They would have to be taken through the court processes to prosecute somebody, to ask them to refund. And Woyemi, I think there's even a story on it that he ought to pay the money back, and they're using the banks to retrieve the monies from him, the money that are in his account.
All you have to do to fight corruption is to apply the laws. That's all. There's no magic one. What does the laws say? If you go and steal one of your camera, let them go and steal a mobile phone. Let them go and steal a mobile phone and be caught. They'll be taken to court tomorrow. Somebody goes to steal millions and millions of cedis, and we are negotiating with them to refund. And even that, they don't refund. JIDA, the monies that should be refunded, is over $100 million. Go and ask how much has been refunded. You are sitting with the people and begging and trying to beg them to refund the money. I need to hear Woyomi say that he's going to pay the money at some point, and even then he won't do it.
Wants to pay.
Look, the government of Ghana, led by President Mahama, my friend, you get a Supreme Court order on the Woyomi matter. You get a Supreme Court order. You have the Attorney General. You have the BNI, all of them. Ministers, including powerful people like my brother here, you can't collect the money from Woyomi, even with a Supreme Court order. You have banks, small banks, who Mr. Woyomi owe, and they are moving to collect their monies. The government of Ghana cannot collect. You go to JIDA, they cannot collect. You go to SADA. Okay. Look, SADA. You say you are going to do private business into Guinea Fowl rearing with a private operator. So you have a joint business. You put your money there. The private operator doesn't bring any money. So he takes your money, says he's going to do the guinea fowl. As we sit today, since 2012, there's no guinea fowl. They're the same private operator. You give him another money, and you're not talking of 50,000 cedis and so on. You're talking of $18 million, talking of $9 million, and so on. Not small monies. Okay. You give him another 18 million to go and plant trees. As we, and it's your money and my money. As we sit, assuming tree planting was the one that was going to alleviate poverty in the north, where are the trees? Where's the money? You come and tell us that we are fighting corruption. You are even rubbing salt into our injury. Right. Look, you talk about exposure. Private sector, civil society has been active in the fight against corruption because of the government inaction. So all this agitation by civil society is because people have become so frustrated and people have become so angry that these things are going on and there's no action. So they are taking it upon themselves. People are leaving their own businesses to join push the government to fight corruption.
Right. Now I'm
going to find what Jerry Rawlings said, what all these people said, and read it to you so that the president can see what people think about
you've made
his
that point. So thank you very much.
Now, my brother didn't hear it, so I'll read it.
Mr. Samuel, I mean, the president has made a statement like that. It's very ballsy because obviously when you make such a statement, you know people are going to interrogate it and pair it against what is happening. Are you surprised by, one, the submission given by him? And indeed, there are a lot of people who feel that the government, especially in the case of Woyomi, was just not interested in prosecuting the case.
Well, I'm not surprised from where Nana Kumia is coming from because President Mahama has demonstrated boldly that he is prepared and he's really standing up against corruption as opposed to an era where a president indicated that he would not even prosecute his ministers because it will lead to the collapse of his government. President Mahama has shown clearly that when you are found culpable, the law enforcement agencies and the legal due processes are allowed to, take place to ensure that justice is done. And so we have a situation where, as we speak today, institutions of states that are responsible for fighting corruption have been activated. All of us have been looking at the various sittings of the Public Account Committee and their findings and the orders that are being given. As we speak today, there are members of parliament, a sitting member of parliament from the government side who is still facing prosecution in the law court. The Woyombe issue, the rule of law was allowed. He was talking about laws. I mean, the president cannot get into the street and start holding people and say, bring the money. You have to use the due process and institutions that have been set up. And I believe that that's exactly what is happening. So the president has demonstrated clearly that in fighting corruption, it doesn't take the president alone. Corruption, he described corruption as mass murder. And indeed, it takes the concerted effort of all Ghanaians to ensure that we put our shoulders to the wheel and fight this canker called corruption. So it is not a one-off situation where one can get up one day and say that today I have fought and defeated corruption. It is a process, and in fighting that process, you need to put in the very institutions and structures and strengthen them. We have a situation where the president will refer matters to the BNI, to the Criminal Investigation Department to investigate these matters and ensure that whoever is found culpable, the law deals with that person. And I don't think that the president has performed badly at all when it comes to his fight against corruption in this country. Okay.
But why do you think that people feel rather it's getting worse? One. Two, when you see, I will have to refer to the Woyombe case again, where people believe that the state was just not interested in prosecuting the case. They were not interested in coming with evidence. We are just comfortable with retrieving the money.
The matter went to court, and the due process was followed, and the court order was followed. And so I believe that if you say the state was not interested, the prosecution, I think the Attorney General sent the matter to court, and the processes that were supposed to follow, the due process were followed, and a decision was taken. So I do not believe at all that by any stretch of imagination one can say that government was not committed. Government has been committed. Attorney General, the current Attorney General, her posture towards this thing and her appeals and moving to the court to ensure that the money is retrieved is very palpably clear to everybody.
Okay. Well, then what does government need to do? What do you think government ought to do to get it around, to get that message around and have people believe in their fight against corruption and not seen as, is wishy-washy?
The president has been very transparent and has opened himself up and has brought the issue of corruption on the front bench, banner anytime that he gets an opportunity to talk. That alone is enough. When you look at the corruption perception index, sure, there seems to be improvement in Ghana's performance. Why? Because we are discussing it, and once we are discussing it, people are now being emboldened to talk about it. The media is becoming more and more aggressive in pursuing issues of corruption. The ordinary people is talking about it, radio stations and others, and by so doing, you are not hiding or shying away from discussing the issues of corruption. And for me, I think that is one of the basic, tenets if you really want to push the fight against corruption. And that is where we should go. It is the responsibility of every Ghanaian, right from the schools, right from our district assemblies, right from our institutions, to be seen to be fighting against corruption and talking against it. In fact, I keep on saying that the Public Accounts Committee is sitting, and the way people go there and sweat alone is an indication that everybody will take, look, I have to be very careful, because if I'm not careful, by the next Auditor General report, we are going to be exposed. We have set up the Audit Report Implementation Committee in all MMDAs, and they are supposed to take the Auditor General report. They are supposed to take actions that comes out of the Auditor General report through the ARIC, and then try and find solutions to it. And eventually, if they are unable to do this, when the report is finally compiled and brought to Parliament, there is a live sitting for you to come and explain your actions and inactions, the act of omissions and commissions. And I believe that this is the way we should go. We should continuously talk about it instead of, in Nana Komia's own government era, they set up Office of Accountability at the presidency, and he should let me know a single case that came to the public domain from that Office of Accountability that was set up by President Kufuor to investigate corruption among ministers under the MPP regime. We don't have a single report. But in President Mahama's regime, he has opened up. And he talks about it, and he has shown by clear examples that he's even prepared to prosecute, people in his own government when they fall foul of the law.
Okay. Quick one about the Public Accounts Committee itself. What I have observed is that the system exposes the weaknesses in our system. How due diligence most of the time is not followed, and people, get away with it. And in reference to, a statement by Mr. Said Chairman Sabot, Minority Leader in Parliament, that we could save millions if we're just a bit diligent. Okay. Right. So what needs to happen then?
My brother talked about due process and putting in institutions and structures and so on. What structures don't we have in this country? What structures don't we have? What institutions don't we have? You're talking of the Public Accounts Committee. Live sittings. How can live sittings stop corruption? When they finish their deliberations, the Public Accounts Committee, what has to follow is prosecution. Parliament has not got a power to prosecute. It's the executive. As you and I speak, the Chief Justice has a criminal court set up to prosecute as a follow-up from the findings of the Public Accounts Committee and the Auditor General. Find out, TV3, how many cases that have come from the Auditor General's report and from the work of Parliament that have gone to the court that the Chief Justice has set up specifically for this purpose. Let's find out. We talk about commitment to corruption, and you say due process and so on. What is the due process involved in SADA? Has there been some due process? People are in the office of the president, because SADA operated at the office of the president. You say you have a joint venture with some company. You put in 15 million Ghana cedis. At that time, $9 million. The company doesn't put in anything. You have a joint venture. The company doesn't put in anything. The people then take your $9 million or 15 million Ghana cedis. And you say they went and did guinea fowl. As we speak, there's no guinea fowl. Why is nobody being asked one single question? Then the same company is giving another $18 million to go and do tree planting. As we speak, there's no tree planting. Do you need a magician to come and tell you there's collusion? And you're talking about due process? You need Obama to come from America to tell you there's collusion there? Look at Smarties. He went to Parliament. One MP, they
paid back the money.
They were running away with it. Because they had paid. Look at the process. The people were paid the money before even the contract was signed. Can you imagine? They were paid the money before the contract was signed. The Attorney General's report on this, the Attorney General's report on this matter. The court last week had to order the government to publish that report. We're talking about transparency.
Yes. I think somebody went there to
demand because the government would not publish the report. My brother here is talking about transparency. Now, the smartest thing, the whole concept, that somebody can be given a contract, somebody can finish work and be paid before a contract is being drawn up. So you see, it has been committed. Then somebody says, hey, we need to cover our backs. So then they go through trying to draw a, when the money had already been paid and the work had been done. Clear collusion. Then it goes to Parliament. Then one MP says, what is this? Then it becomes a public matter. When it became a public matter, they said, the person should refund the money. Because the Attorney General went into it, found that more than 100% had been paid that shouldn't have been paid. The project should have been 1.7. And more than 1.9 was... 1.9. No, yes. The project was
3.6. Everything was 3.6.
Yes.
And
so
half of it,
no, the project should have cost 1.7. 3.6 was paid. So 1.9 was overpaid. More than 100%. Normally, you hear people putting 10%. Now, these people, they are putting 100% on contracts. And then they say the person should refund. If you go and steal a mobile phone or a fowl Foul. Foul. How much is the foul?
No, you made this point.
Yes.
I wanted to know if we could move forward.
One second. My brother said that somebody said they would not prosecute because the government will not be popular. Okay. Let's assume he made that statement. But look at the record. A sitting minister called Malam Issa was prosecuted. Alhaji Banda.
He says it was a ploy. You planned and used him as a
Okay.
scapegoat. He's made that public.
The only non-MPP minister.
But you see, my brother here is a Pentecost. He's a Pentecost elder. Sure. So he should not
Don't
be
go that tangent.
You know, he said, Malam Issa said it was a ploy.
Sure.
But you know, when he was talking about the government's poor record, he mentioned one MP. That MP too says that it's a ploy, that is being made a scapegoat. So please, now I'm saying to you that a sitting, let's say Kufuor said, I won't prosecute my minister because, fine, but look at the record. Malam Issa was prosecuted. He was a sitting minister, cabinet minister. Alhaji Banda was made to resign because somebody had gone and taken letterheads from his office. He was made to resign. Richard Anani was made to resign until he went to court and cleared his name. Kufuor himself, the sitting president, was dragged before Shrag. You remember?
Shrag, yeah.
Yes. He went there. You know, so now you then come and say, you will do it, you do it, you do it. And you don't do it. So the man who said, I won't do it, and went and did it. And then you who said, I will do it, and you didn't do it. Which is better.
I think the evidence is very clear.
Which is better.
And the evidence is very clear.
Now, I'm saying to you that these public accounts people, you're talking about them. They do their work. We see them on television, don't we? Okay. Yeah. Have you seen the follow-up? Right. Have you seen the follow-up to the Public Accounts Committee? All right.
Thank you.
No, Bridget, have you seen it? There's no follow-up. They sit on TV and after that, everybody goes to sleep.
All right. Nana, thank you. Nana, thank you. Just a quick response and then we'll move on to the
well, I believe
just
that.
A quick comment on it.
I believe that we need to commend ourselves as a country for the level of transparency that we are bringing into governance, especially through this. I agree that Public Accounts Committee's report, when people are found culpable, there's the need for a quick follow-up to ensure. And I believe that in most cases, there are evidence that monies are being retrieved. I have people who are working in MMDAs where adverse findings have been, found against them, and people have been made. Some are facing prosecution, others have been made to refund money. As we sit here now, there are several refunds that the government has directed, and I've been told that refunds are being made here and there. There is evidence that the government is consistently pushing to ensure that we are able to, sanitize the situation. And so we have a situation where, as we speak to you now, he's talking about NewDay and others, and we have evidence that monies are being retrieved day in and day out. Sure. And you should give me an example, a single example. He was talking about Dr. Anani when the position was made to lie fallow for 1.5 years for him to come and occupy the same position as Minister of Transport and Roads and Transport. So that shows what? That shows that, nothing really took place there. Nothing really. We have situations where Ghana at 50 and other people were using just technicalities, legal technicalities, to get away with the loot that they took under the MPP government. I personally believe that when it comes to the issue of corruption, it is an issue that we should fight, disregarding partisan lines. Because you see, it affects everybody. If there is a road construction and somebody doesn't do it well, and in a very short time, the road starts deteriorating, all of us suffer. You see, so it is about time that we through concerted effort, see how best as a nation we can join hands with the president. The president has called for all hands to be on deck. And I think that is what we ought to do, to support the president and the institutions that have been set up to ensure that we rid this country of the canker of corruption.
Just go back a bit and explain when you say all hands on deck. Talking about it, exposing it, and public expressing their disgust against it, it's a way of supporting the system.
Definitely.
So the public, we're doing ours. We want to see government take action
The government is taking action. I've indicated the several actions of refund that government has authorized people who are supposed to refund, and those who are facing prosecution and others are all there to show that the government under President Mahama is committed to fight corruption. Okay, all right.
My last point.
Mr. Akumi, we have to move on. We have to move
Listen,
on. 10 seconds.
All hands should be on deck. But Bridget, you would agree Anytime civil society talks against corruption in this government, they are insulted.
Who?
Look at Occupy Ghana. They say, look at this, they're having a walk in the park. You said the public is talking about it. The public is talking in anger against the government's inaction against corruption. That's the expression of anger. And I'll give you, if you have time, I'll read all of it to you.
All right.
Now it says Ghana at 50. Look, you people put the people before, you said you were going to prosecute them. You could not prosecute them. You were inefficient. You couldn't prosecute them. You put them before a presidential commission.
Thank you.
You
Thank you very much.
We have to
move
use
on.
that as an example.
I can't put cash in pockets. President John Dramani Mahama has told Ghanaians that they cannot feel the positive effect of what, this is the Daily Guide report, of what he called the growing economy in their pockets, because many of them lack the skills to harness the opportunities the economy is creating. He added that those who were also expecting him to personally fill their pockets with money were requesting for the impossible, because as a leader of the nation, quote, I cannot personally go around the length and breadth of the country putting money in people's pockets. I think when the president makes that statement, I mean, I'm quoting him where he says, I cannot personally go around the length and breadth of the country putting money into people's pockets. It clears up the story a little bit. It's true.
What did he say?
Pardon? It says that he cannot personally go around, literally, literally putting money in people's pockets. I just want to ask a quick question about, there are, even in challenges, a lot of people say you can still create opportunities around it. Yeah. Yes. Well, do you think that people are also, relying so much on, the economy is not good, the economy is not good, and so because of that, they are failing to also think outside of the box and find the opportunities and the challenges?
Bridget, the president is very insensitive.
Oh, how so?
You see, because you have campaigned on a manifesto that you are going to create jobs. It's in your manifesto. It's in your campaign promises. You have you are not able to create the jobs. And you are telling the people in their face that they don't have skills. That's why they can't get jobs. You are talking of university graduates coming out every year in their thousands. Still they don't have skills. What skills are we talking about? Branding skills? Maybe if you have branding skills, you get a big contract. So what is the president talking about? You have university graduates coming out. They don't have jobs.
Okay.
So what are you talking about? Now,
even before you go, in direct reference to that, for instance, when people are constructing roads, there are people who are hired. That's a form of employment, isn't it?
But roads are constructed every day since Gog is back. You know Gog is back?
Sure.
Yes. So that is not the solution to employment. Look, when the government itself is borrowing so much from the banks, so interest rates are about 40%. When you go to the other people, they'll charge you 50%. If you go to the banks today, maybe TV3, you are a big corporate, they will probably take 35 from you. Now, when interest rates are 35, because the government itself is borrowing, treasury bill is about 25, how would jobs be created? You see, when we are importing everything in this studio that we are, I don't know what is here that is made in Ghana. Now, when you don't have an industrial plan to produce goods in this country, how would you produce jobs on a sustainable basis? You cannot. When you have your currency losing, the price of the dollar going up by over 250% in 7 years, what kind of environment are you creating? As we speak, inflation is at the highest point since 2008. You see? So, where's the environment? And you say people don't have skills. What skills? Some time ago, when you are sitting in your home, banks will come to you. Nice ladies, nice gentlemen, trying to get you to come and take money to go and do something. So if you are a carpenter or you have some skill, you can get some money and set up. Today, the government itself is borrowing so much. The banks won't come to you. If you go to them, they will bluff you. Because the government is borrowing. Go and look at the weekly bond markets, how much has been borrowed by the government. So why would they lend to business? They would not. Interest rate is about 40% as we speak. Because government itself is borrowing at 25. So why would I lend to you, the businessman, at 30? When I can lend to government at 25, there's no risk. I just have to sit back, relax, and government will pay treasury bill at the end of 3 months. And you say the economy is growing? The economy, when the NPP left, was growing at 8.4. President Mills took it to 15. Today we are growing at 3. And you say it's an achievement, so people should go and look for skills to get jobs.
But then, you know, world economy factors all have a role to play in that. And I think naturally, the last report I read, the IMF says that even the world, we're just going to grow up about 4.5%.
So if the whole world is stagnant, why would they lending us money? Why? Do you know Cote d'Ivoire? It's next door. Go and check the statistics on Cote d'Ivoire. Go and check the statistics on inflation, the statistics on the deficit, the statistics on interest rates in Cote d'Ivoire. Just here. Okay. Go and check. Inflation is about 2%. Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Nana. Just help us understand and appreciate, what the president means by, of course, he can't go literally, go around and put money in people. But I don't think that's the expectation of people.
No, a moment. Next year, he'll put money in our pockets.
Yes.
So what is he talking about?
No, it says literally. And that's why I said literally. I mean, literally, of course, literally, you can't go and visit everybody.
Yeah, but he's told Ghanaians in the face.
Yeah, but Nana, you have your moment. All right. Nana, thank you. Nana, thank you. So help us understand, appreciate, the input of that message.
Those two statements were made within a certain context. Okay. And he indicated that it's literally, I cannot go around and put money into your pocket. At the other time, he said, the first term is to build solid infrastructure and ensure that all what it takes for the economic takeoff is put in place. So in my second term, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to accelerate job creation and ensure that, for instance, we all came to find out deficit in power supply. Over the years, this is one government which within a matter of 3 years has been able to increase power generation to the extent that today we are almost self-sufficient in terms of power generation. And so once you have power, of course, then its replaying effect is that you have power to do some other jobs. I mean, if you look at the micro jobs, those who were in hairdressing, those who were in barbering shop, and others who were hiring generators and others today will not be doing it again because the opportunity is for them. The opportunity is there for them to take advantage of the enormous generation capacity that has been put in place to ensure that they power this nation through medium and small scale industries. Okay. Number two, when you look at the kind of infrastructure that is being developed, for instance, if you go to the cocoa growing communities where it was very difficult to transport cocoa during the rainy season in order to ensure that the cocoa farmer realizes the full benefit of his or her sweat and toil. Today, you go to the cocoa growing communities, asphaltic roads are being constructed to ensure that there will be speedy access to, farm inputs in order to get them to the port. Today, even if you look at our cities, the kind of infrastructure work that is going on, traffic is being reduced because if you're a taxi driver and you're supposed to stay in traffic for 30 minutes to 1 hour, and today you have free flow of traffic and it's accelerating the work that you are doing, generally you are improving your economy. You look at the president going and converting polytechnics to technical universities, and I heard Kufuor Polytechnic principal saying that they are going to implement hands-on, tailor-measured programs to ensure that our technical university students will come out, will be able to set up on their own through innovations and others. You see, it doesn't take place one day. It is a process. So I think that the president's long-term vision is to ensure that the infrastructure is improved, the road network is improved. Look, yesterday or 3 days ago, he was commissioning part of the Eastern Corridor Road. Do you know what it takes? How long it used to take yam farmers who are transporting their yam from the north to the south through the Eastern Corridor? Sometimes the car will get spoiled. 3-4 days they are there. It's getting rotten. And you have a situation where these roads are being opened up, and the distance between the north and the south through the Eastern Corridor is going to be reduced by about 3 hours when you are traveling. What does it mean? What it means is that it's going to accelerate business. It's going to ensure that farmers will get their products to the market quickly. Drivers will be able to reach early to make some ends meet. And so all this, you put all this, you aggregate it. Then the president, through his policies, programs, through power generation, through road construction, circle here. Look at the gargantuan infrastructure at the circle. You know what? Sometimes people used to stay in circle for about 1 hour in traffic. Do you know the economic cost of it? So I believe that the president's long-term view is that it takes time to put all this infrastructure in place. And if we're able to put this infrastructure in place, the president was in Western region recently, inaugurating coal stores, big 150-ton coal stores. Do you know what it means? The fishermen who go to sea, they catch, they come back, they are unable to sell, and sometimes they have to throw the fishes back into the sea because of lack of market. What is happening is that you are giving them preservation equipment. So the women will be able to store their fish, they will be able to, you know, take their time to sell, and they will be able to put money into it. So I believe that what the president is doing gradually is to ensure that we address this problem, giving outboard motors to the fishermen in order to enable them to go into the sea and bring more catches, going through fertilizer subsidy, supporting agriculture, and making sure that the roads are open up and others. Recently, the president went to the Volta region through Volta and Easton, between Agodake and Pando Toko, where he has presented a new pontoon to them. What happens is that it takes them 2 hours to cross from the Eastern region to the Volta region. If that, in the absence of that, they have to travel all the way, cross Echiamon from, come through Kufodria, go through Ho before they get to Pando. You know what it means? What it means is that it is shortening the route. It is ensuring that they are able to trade in between the two regions in a very short time. So I believe that all these structures that the president is putting in place will eventually inure to the benefit of Ghanaians, because wherever you find yourself in the economy, you will be able to realize something and put money into your pocket. So literally the president cannot go around and say that, oh, the president has come around, everybody is looking for money. Yesterday at Home Market, you see the pictures. Yes, how happy the market women are. There is a project, the Ghana Urban Marketing, the Ghana Urban the GAM project is putting up, you know, market infrastructure for the market women there. You know, it is to ensure that it improves on their business. So every aspect of the economy is being touched. And once that is done, we believe that. That's why the president says that, look, in my next term, when these structures have been put in place.
Just a quick one, and I hope you do this in 30 seconds for me then. You have explained this, but if somebody just reads the headline, indeed it comes across, as Nana Komi puts it, that it comes across being insensitive to say that, oh, yeah, I can't put money in your pockets, or you're not creative, or you're not able to see the opportunities.
Well, so if you pick the statement out of context and give it that warp interpretation, that is what we are going to do. But that is not what the president meant. Sure. Because you go around and everybody said, oh, you need to. You cannot just put money into people's pocket. What we need to do is to put the necessary infrastructure, the necessary systems and structures that will enable the people to take advantage of the environment that you are creating, to enable them to make money and put money into their pocket. I believe that with the current doomsday almost over and the constant supply of power, this economy will turn around. Today, as we speak now, Kuwait for the first time is going to borrow money. Kuwait for the first time is going to borrow money. There is a general recession globally, and Ghana economy is still very resilient. And we must be proud of ourselves that in spite of, go to Nigeria and see what is happening there. They are queuing for fuel, there is no electricity, the economy is almost in shambles, and Ghana economy is still, you know, very resilient. So I think we must, you know, pat ourselves on the shoulders. All what we need to do is to put in more effort and ensure that we build on the gains that has been made in order to push our economy forward. And for instance, in West Africa now, Ghana economy is the second biggest economy from Nigeria. And so we are doing well. There's still more room for improvement. There is still more that we can do. Nigeria is going through a lot of troubles. Yeah, they are going through a lot of troubles.
They are going through a lot.
They are going through a lot of troubles. And in Ghana, we've been able to keep our heads above waters in spite of all the global challenges that we are facing as a nation.
All right.
Bridget,
just make a submission.
The Nigerian thing, Côte d'Ivoire. Nigeria is being drowned under corruption. We all know that. That's not a good example. Côte d'Ivoire, they are closer to us than Nigeria. Go and see what is happening. Now, you say cocoa roads and all of that. Did we start making cocoa roads today? Look at the 2008 budget. 2008 budget. Contracts have been awarded for the tarring of over 600 kilometers of cocoa roads, of selected roads in the remote cocoa growing areas to improve efficiency. I'm just telling you this to show you that cocoa roads didn't start today. It's been going on. Road construction in general didn't start today. This is a list of roads, some of the roads that NPP constructed. You don't have time. I would have read all of them to you. And he knows.
If we decide to do that this one, we'll not even get up here.
Okay.
Yes.
But road construction didn't start today. Okay. You understand? We've always been constructing roads. So if you come and tell us that, oh, I'm constructing roads, interchange at Circle, and so that is going to let the economy take off. You are fooling yourself and you are fooling Ghanaians. Because we've been building roads in this country for a long time. That is not what is going to produce. It helps. But my sister, when the government itself is borrowing from the banks at 25%, talk about electricity, you put us into doomsday for 4 years. Now that it has stabilized, we are paying tariffs. Listen, we are paying tariffs of...
I mean, DIMSA is not, it was not created by, it's just years of inaction, right?
Years
of, because our generational capacity has, excuse me, we still don't generate enough.
I would beg you, whatever you do, not to be taken in by the propaganda. You come into office in 2009, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 3.5 years. You've sat down for Doomsday to come, and you say it's Rawlings's fault. It's Kufuor's fault. Please, whatever you do, don't be taken in by this propaganda.
No, not at all. Now, no, not at all. But I mean, no. But the fact is that our population grows. I mean, we're not the same.
But you've sat down.
It's not a question of propaganda.
You have sat down 3.5 years, and then Doomsday comes, and you say, "Oh, it is Rawlings that didn't do something. Kufuor didn't do something." Our children now that you've stabilized the electricity, which is good. But look at the rates that you have imposed to manage to stabilize it. 70% increment in 1 year. 3 years ago in 2013, you imposed a 90% increment in electricity. This year, 70%. People cannot pay. Go and look at your TV3 next week or two, if you bring here and here. Bring your bill 6 months ago and bring your bill electricity today. And you will see. And why are we increasing the tariffs 70% at a time? Because we cannot hold the dollar. Because the electricity is generated in dollars. And we are selling in cedis. Because you cannot hold the value of the currency. You and I are suffering. And they come and tell us that we should clap for them, for this achievement. We should clap for them. Can you imagine? Go and see electricity tariffs in Cote d'Ivoire. Go and see. Just here, Google electricity tariffs in Cote d'Ivoire per kilowatt hour. And Google kilowatt hour in Ghana. And these people come and tell us that we should actually clap for them. It's a damn cocoa. Every week you have some fishermen group complaining about the conditions in the business. From Jamestown to Winneba to where? Flower. They are complaining about conditions in the fishing business. This government has buried its head in the sand. It happens to every government. And I'm happy that it's happening to them. Look, when the president went to Anglon is not, it's a heavily NDC World Bank. Now the president has reduced it to IMF, which is smaller. It used to be World Bank. The president
he said it's World Bank and IMF. He didn't say just IMF.
No, he said
World Bank and it's IMF.
But if it's World Bank, why do you need IMF? The World Bank is bigger. So what IMF means that's reduced. But you see, when he went to Anglon, when he went to Anglon,
30 seconds to wrap up.
The Awomefia told him in his face that, oh, President, you've done some few projects. We are happy. But what is worrying us? You haven't tackled it. The poverty level is completely out of control.
I think so.
Yes, the poverty level and the hardship. The paramount chief was telling President in his face that yes, the projects are good.
But I've got to be honest with the president, says, because you've got to address the needs of the people.
Because the president has buried his head in the sand. That's why the chief is beaten. The chief said, today I'm happy that you are here yourself. So we'll tell you what is really happening. If the paramount chief tells you this, what he's telling you is that you've buried your head in the sand. You don't know what is going on. And so today he's lucky he's got you yourself sitting here. So he'll tell you the reality.
I think that is just begging the question. It's the president who has decided to account to the people, and in all honesty, he's trying to be very honest with the people, and the people being honest with him. That is all hot governance is about. So the president goes to the people, he tells them, I mean, you have chiefs showering praises on the president, commending him for all the development projects and changes that have come, and when it comes to them, they go and attacking those chiefs. The recent comment by the acting Kwahuma Hene, he was saying that in the Kwahu area, this is the first time that the government is putting up district hospital for them. The president was in Dodowa recently to commission a multi-purpose hospital. Hospitals are being built everywhere. regional hospitals, district hospitals. The people are seeing it, and the chiefs are commending the president. That one you will not talk about it. The president has never buried his head in the sun. He goes to tell the people what he has done to them, and the people are appreciative. And that is why there is a lot of shivers and jittery about the president accounting to the people. The president is just going to tell the people what I've done for you. Now MPP are running helter-skelter. Why is the president going to account to the people? What is the essence of governance? The essence of governance is to go to the people. They were organizing themselves. They were sitting in the conference center, and President Kufuor was bringing chiefs, and he's doing people's assembly. The president has raised the bar and says that I will not bring the people here. I'm going to the people. I'm going to show them what we have done. Look at Chinduri. Look at Chinduri. Look at the secondary school where the people were schooling under, sheds. You saw the picture, the pictorial view of the school, and what they are using currently. It's amazing what people are experiencing in their life. That is why we say the president is transforming Ghana and changing lives. The children from Chinduri now, look at where they are studying. I was in Nyanwa Kwabwa recently in that area where the president went and commissioned one of these community, this secondary school. And the chief who spoke, the passion with which he spoke, and the praises, because they see palpable evidence of development. That can be seen clearly. So if our people rather want to bury their heads in the sun and behave as if nothing is happening in Ghana, the good people of this country...
But I'm sorry I have to come in here, but it's not even burying your head in the sun, but that accounting to the people itself also gives you an opportunity to see what is really going on with it, what the people really need. Maybe you do something that you think they need, but doesn't address their problems. That's what the chief even talked about, unemployment.
No, it is good that the president goes, look, we're talking about unemployment. We are putting up 200 secondary schools, senior high schools.
123.
If you talk about 123, look at the employment it's generating. Once you finish the project, you are taking both teaching and non-teaching staff. You are taking librarians, you are taking drivers, you are taking this, you are taking this. Vehicles have been imported for all this new community. You know the number of drivers that are going to be employed. You know the number of artisans that are benefiting from the construction of these schools, hospitals, and others. So once infrastructure is being expanded, it has its own inherent way of creating employment for the people, both during the construction period. If you had watched the Dodua Hospital commissioning, it was indicated that about 90% of the workers there were recruited from the locality. And you see, and it was showcased what benefits. What benefits they have derived from it, to the extent that those who have acquired expertise from the construction of that hospitals are being moved to other places to go and help. That is what we are doing to help the people of this country.
I want us to move to. We have just about 4 minutes to wrap up. Just a quick.
People will get jobs.
Sure.
But it's today the first time we are building hospitals. If I'm to tell you the list of hospitals the NPP built, we won't finish.
So how many district hospitals did you
additions?
So how many? Tell us. How many district hospitals did you build?
This morning we haven't had breakfast, so take it easy. Now listen, you see this book?
Yeah.
From page to page, it's just projects. I'll leave it with you.
Oh, it's a blue book. Now, that's your blue book.
Now you see, Bridget, President Mahama, in 2008, he told Ghanaians that a government that touts projects is a government that is a mediocre government. Today he's touting projects. Now, how can an exercise that is mediocrity in 2008 be transformational and one-touch victory in 2016? You are speaking from both sides of your mouth. Because you told us that touting of projects is an exercise in mediocrity, just here. National Theatre.
Well, what would you consider as an achievement then?
Projects, infrastructure, they are good. We started doing infrastructure from Gogisbeck. But you see, that is not the end all to advancing people's welfare and economic progress. That's what Togbe Siri told him. That yes, you've done some projects, we are happy. But what is really worrying us, you haven't tackled it. And that is exactly what the president said in 2008. That touting infrastructure projects and saying because of that you are a good government. You are a government of mediocrity.
All right.
Now you are saying that it is transformational.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's
unfortunate that
let me just
I don't have a lot of time, so I'll have to move.
Let me just end by saying that the people who are benefiting from this massive infrastructure,
so you can
go and tell them it's an exercise in
But that's what the president told them. That's what the president said.
Go and tell them.
We said it is good.
Go and tell them.
We wish you the very best. You're going to the funeral of the late chairman of the NPP, Jake Obechebi-Lamte. Nana Komia is the director of communication for the New Patriotic Party. Thank you very much. Yes, I'll be there. Yes, thank you very much for joining us. Yes, I do. And also Vice Chairman NDC. I'll take yours as well. Vice Chairman of the NDC and Director of Elections, Mr. Samuel Ufosu Ampofu, helped us this morning to do the discussion. And you can also follow the rest on our website. Go to tv3network.com. I'll take it and read it myself. Thank you very much. tv3network.com for more.